They donated them, and what happened, they had to have a meeting. These things were going to go to Oshkosh to be displayed, so they decided to give them to us, which was really nice on their part. And this one was used just to bring up food and messages. They had a number of them. They had more than two in the Endurance flight. I have pictures of them being loaded into the refueling airplane. This one was used to carry the engine oil, and apparently it had a strap over here to hold it, and I guess over the years it's rotted away. What I did, I had an artist put the logos on there, just so to give them a little bit of color. This is a picture of some of the canisters being loaded. They probably had about a dozen of them that they made up. And they're weighted down with lead weights to keep them from swinging in flight. So they are kind of heavy. But it's an interesting thing that survived from the Endurance flight, because I guess most of the stuff is just thrown away.
Nice.
We had a hatch right over here in this area that they would work out of.
Okay.
And inside they had I believe it was a 125-gallon fuel tank in the back. They removed the two rear seats.
And when the restoration was done, you left that?
Yeah, all that stuff was missing because when Gulf had the airplane, they flew it for 2 years. They had to put the airplane back into the normal category. So everything that was put on there for the Endurance flight had to be removed at the factory. The only thing that still remains in the airplane is they put a Model A fuel gauge in the oil tank so they could monitor the oil level. They cut a hole in the firewall. It's a little hard to see unless you have a flashlight. But there's a hole here, and there's a Model A fuel gauge underneath there. So that's still in there. That was never removed. They must have had a big filler neck on the top of the oil tank because there's a big repair on the top. So they must have had a pipe sticking up and out through the top of the cowling to service the tank. When it flew, these panels were off. This was all open for maintenance. The seats were in here. They were original, but the wicker was all brittle, so we had to re-wicker the seats.
And did you do that?
Yes, my dad did the re-wickering of the seats, but he managed to use the original framework. I think over the years it just dried up. I don't think they had any upholstery in it for the Endurance flight. I think everything was left wide open. They had you could see where before we fabricated the airplane, they cut the molding. They had a little door over here on this side, so they had access to the left side of the airplane in flight.
It's really beautiful.
Panels original. These holes that you see right here, what they had protruding through here were grease fittings for the rocker arms. And in flight, about every 5 hours, they would have to grease the rocker arms. So what we did with the holes, I just put plugs on here. I was thinking about putting grease fittings back on here, but I never did. So the panel's original, even with the holes.
Nice.
Back into the instrument panel.
Oh, this is for the grease fittings? They
Yes,
ran it
so they
right
could,
back into
rather than have to come out on the catwalk and grease the rocker arms, they did it from inside the airplane.
How frequently did they have to do that?
According to the Curtis Challenger, they recommend about every 5 hours that you need to grease the rocker arms. But that would make it authentic if I put the grease fittings back on the Fisher wheels. The Fisher replacement wheels.
Yep. They're the Fisher wheels with the original caps on them.
Yeah. It's a little heavier material that Dick is making them out of.
Wouldn't it really be freaky?
He increased even the thickness of the disc itself, but the rim inside is much thicker. These decals are compliments of Dick Fisher. He had those duplicated.
In which case I'll go. Then I want to have real fun with Bill Sindel. I want to go there. I said, Bill, I want my fuselage. What do you mean? Hey.
That goes in here. Everybody throws them away. And when I call Dick up, Dick says, I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Do you know what the purpose of that is? Is it just to fill a gap a little bit?
Just to fill
or?
a gap, yeah. A little smoother airflow.
It wasn't comfortable. I mean, it's not that it was a bad flying airplane.
Well, we knew there was something there. It was evident with the screws that were in there.
Yeah.
And Dick knew all about it.
So now, I know this came from Roosevelt Field, and I know that I happen to be a big fan of the old Rhinebeck Aerodrome, and I know that Cole Palin got a number of airplanes from Roosevelt Field when it closed up in 1951.
Right.
So was this part of the museum?
This was part of it, and Walter Chapman purchased the airplane for $350
Wow.
in 1950. And that was when he took the airplane and moved it out to East Mauritius.
Yeah.
And he had the airplane there until 1967, until my father got a hold of it.
And do you know what other airplanes were at that museum? In addition, like I only know the World War One
Yeah, there was
aircraft from
it
the.
disappeared. There was a Keystone amphibian that was at the museum also, and then we haven't been able to trace that down, whatever happened to it. I have photographs of it with this robin
Oh, really?
at Roosevelt Field.
Do you have any photos of the museum as it was
No, I
prior
don't.
to?
I don't know of anyone who ever took any pictures of the museum itself, but the robin was tied down outside, a picture I have, and right alongside of it is a lowing amphibian.
Okay.
And I tried to find out whatever happened to that, and I keep coming up with a dead end. But it shows the robin outside, and it's painted yellow and blue.
Yellow and blue.
Yes.
Now you mentioned earlier that it changed color schemes about 3 times or so.
Yes, right.
First it was like this, as it is now, and then when it was sold to Gulf.
It was painted cream with the pinstripes. And then it was repainted orange again when it went to the Franklin Institute, back to the original Endurance colors. And then when it went to Roosevelt Field, it was painted blue and yellow.
Okay.
The picture I have that was taken in 1950 of it is a color print. And I should have brought it out for you.
That's all right.
So, but, if you come out here again, let me know. I got a lot of stuff I'd like to bring you out.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Get a kick out of it.
This is such a beautiful restoration, and it was done in the 70s.
We did this in 1977, the restoration.
It's hard to believe it still looks so
We've
perfect.
touched it up occasionally. I've repainted a lot of the struts in the back. I had to repaint the top of the fuselage. But it's basically the same as it was in 1977 after the restoration. My dad bought the prop off of Joe Gertler. And,
Oh, okay.
But all the sheet metal was there with the airplane, except for the one belly panel right in this area. This was missing. And we had to fabricate that from photographs.
So the prop was missing initially, and the belly,
Yeah, and the
pan.
belly panel was missing.
and other than that, it was
That
pretty
was about
pretty
it.
much complete.
Everything else was there. Tail wheel's original. That's the tail wheel it had. When it set the Endurance flight, it had a tail skid. And then apparently about after the Endurance flight, Gulf wanted a tail wheel installed. I have the paperwork on it. And the tail wheel was put on in late 1929.
Did you ever go for a flight in it?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh my God, to St. Louis, to Oshkosh,
Oh, okay.
down to Georgia.
This was an Oshkosh Grand Champion, right?
In 1978,
Yeah.
and we took it down to Atlanta, Georgia. We've had it to Pennsylvania, been to Connecticut with it. We did we used the airplane for over 10 years,
Wow.
and one of the longest trips was to St. Louis, Missouri. Then we took it we took it to Mexico, Missouri, which is almost into Kansas.
And when was the last time that it flew?
1985.
85. How old were you when your dad started working on it?
Oh my God, 1967. I was 19.
19.
Yeah.
And I know he did a number of other restorations as well,
yes.
too.
Yeah, my dad and my uncle, they were always involved in restoring airplanes ever since I can remember. They had a lot of Wacos. They had a Hissel-powered Eagle Rock, 2 Command Airs, 2 fledglings.
Yeah. Did they finish both fledglings? I know there was
they
one.
They finished the one that went to Brazil, and the second one was sold to Greg Herrick.
Oh, okay.
And it's still under restoration.
Oh, a friend of mine, Ken Cassins, just built a fuselage for Greg Herrick.
That's the
For
fledgling. Yeah.
because I think there was a little bit too much
Internal rust.
internal
Yep.
rust. Yeah, so
That airplane stopped flying. My dad had the paperwork on that. That was 250 Hotel. That's the registration number. It stopped flying about 1940. And my dad and my Uncle Ralph got the airplane from Henry Bender. That's where both of the fledglings came from. The other one, 263 Hotel, that's down in Sao Paulo, Brazil, in a museum. My father sold that airplane in 1967 to the Brazilian government. They flew it for about 5 years and then they stopped flying it. The reason why they wanted it is that the Brazilians, they established their airmail route back in the late 30s with about a dozen fledglings. They were all destroyed in accidents. So they contacted the FAA registry and they contacted my dad.
Yeah.
And, it was a nice airplane. I remember it as a kid.
Not too many of them around nowadays.
No.
There's the one at Rhinebeck, which is still, actually I know it's stripped down and it's sort of awaiting restoration. But,
I remember that airplane. It came out of Florida and it had a Challenger and then they took it off with a 220 Continental on it.
Right.
I think there's one over near, I'm trying to think, in Pennsylvania, that was done down in Texas. In fact, that came out of Walter Chapman's garage where this Robin came from.
Oh, really?
He had that fledgling for about 40 years, and it sat there with the Robin. And when he died, his daughter sold the airplane. And it went down to Texas and was restored, and I heard now it's been sold. It's up near Philadelphia.
It's restored in Philadelphia?
Yes. Joe Dennis, it's at the airport where Joe Dennis has his repair shop. I'm trying to think of the name of the airport right now. It sort of escapes me. He's seen the airplane. It's Joe Dennis is supposed to be, and Mark Dennis is supposed to be doing restoration on Greg Herrick's fledgling.
Now I see this fitting here, and I'm just wondering.
Oh yes, yeah. Everybody asks about this fitting, and Dick Fisher, we sort of came up with the idea. Curtis wanted to make the horizontal stabilizers in the elevators that they were interchangeable from left to right.
Oh,
So
okay.
you could take this and
Oh,
flip it.
the bottom is
Yeah.
the same as the top.
Yeah, so we were going to cut it off, and I said, you know what, we're going to keep it authentic. We're going to leave that bracket right there because you only need it for the bottom strut.
Right.
But that's a question that's asked frequently, I'll tell you. It's
And almost you would think a strut is missing or something.
Yeah, this was funny. I remember Dick Fisher talking about this. And I was going to cut it off, and he said, no, you don't cut that off.
That's right. That's original.
Leave that off. Yeah, you will look at some robins, you see that they too take an axe and cut that off, but I don't know.
And before you were telling me about Gene Thomas, how he he
Gene,
laid out the
yes, Gene Thomas
the
did all the
graphics.
artwork. He worked from black and white photographs. The original was hand painted, and what Gene did, he made a template for me. We traced it on there, and he helped in putting the stripes in place. And it's, instead of brushing it, it's all sprayed on. We painted it all in order to get a smoother texture to it. But if you really want to be authentic, it should have been brushed. But it's very accurate. Gene was stickler on just getting it. Oh, it had to be perfect with him. I mean, even the location.
Yep.
The guy he was a true artist.
So I read somewhere there was a long list of airplanes that I guess your dad had collected that had yet to be restored after this was done. Or do you still have any of those?
I still have a Commandair, a Siemens
Commandair?
Halsky,
Oh,
and it's a
are you working on it or?
off and on. Yes, the wings are complete, finished, and tail services. Right now, I'm trying to fabric the fuselage.
Nice.
It has a Siemens Halsky, an SH-14 engine. It's been apart since 1934. Give you an idea how long things take to get restored. Yeah, going back to the logo here, when I helped Gene tape it up, I made a blunder, and he brought it to my attention. He hollered at me. I forgot to put the white shadow over here on the S. If you notice that it should have a slight shadow.
Oh yeah.
Well, he picked up on that, and I caught it. Yes, he noticed that immediately. I think I got it correct on this side. This side is actually opposite, so yeah, you don't need the shadow on this. If you look at this side, this is fine. It's coming from this direction. So you really don't need a white shadow there.
Oh, okay.
But you need it on the other side, and I never saw it. And I taped it up and I painted it, and yeah. I'm not an artist,
It looks beautiful to me, yeah.
but he noticed it. He said, "Look at this, you blended." I said, "Oh," I said, "You got me."
I'm sure it still beats the hand brushed
Yeah, but
finish of the
but to
original.
keep it authentic, it was hand brushed. You could see it. Well, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The lace panels are correct. That's where they belong.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's just for access to.
Yeah. What we did, I have an original rudder at home with the original fabric, and the Curtis logo here is not painted. This one is painted. It's originally a decal that they have.
Oh.
And again, this is all hand painted.
Yeah.
The rudder I have is from an OX5 Robin. It's like I said, it's very original.
And that still has the N number on it, I guess?
Yes, yeah.
Any idea what happened to the rest of the airplane? Or?
There's no record. It was probably destroyed before World War II, and we acquired the rudder. And I've taken a number of pictures of it. In fact, I've sent Dick Fitcher pictures of it. He's trying to get an original decal made on his projects.
Mm-hmm.
But he has to contact a number of Curtis Robin owners and sort of pool it all together, because it's not feasible just to do one or two. You got to do about 24
Right.
to make it worthwhile.
Right.
But it, in 1928 when they did it, it's actually a decal. I can't believe it. I mean, everybody was hand painting everything, and then Curtis goes to a decal.
Yeah. Well, it's a pretty elaborate thing to paint, I guess.
We were able to spray the dark blue with butyrate, and then I got a sign painted to pinstripe the orange on there. And I've contacted a number of Curtis Robin owners, and everybody says, "Oh, it's in black," because you're looking at black on my photograph, and it comes up looking like black, but it's not. It's really a dark blue.
Were there any exciting adventures with flying? Any close calls or scares? Or was it pretty reliable?
Pretty reliable, except for we cracked a cylinder and we had a forced landing in Indiana with it, and the time we broke a wheel.
Right. Now, I heard that that's sort of a rough running engine. Did you find that to be the case with this? Or
If you try to cruise it up around about 1,700, 1,800 RPM, we found that if we brought it back to about 12, 13, it ran pretty nice. It's sort of, you're not going to get much more out of the engine, so there's really no reason to abuse it.
Right.
You get up to about 1,800, 1,900 with this thing, everything shakes.
Yeah.
But somewhere about 12, 1,300, it's not bad. You can live with it. It runs pretty smooth. They actually took this engine and actually boosted it up to 2,000 RPM to get 185 horse out of it. And now we pushed this to 18, and that's far enough.
Yeah.
Even at 18, it just feels like it feels like two Kinners running.
Yeah.